organised by the EMA project, which we're very much looking forward to because it's a special one for us this afternoon. If you've been following the rest of the EMA webinar series, you know that these have been running for the last 6 or 8 months. But this afternoon we have a special one on the topic of using the Europeana Collection as part of boosting the impact of your MOOC. So I'm delighted to introduce you to our speakers this afternoon. So we will first of all have Milena Popova from Europeana in the Netherlands, and then Ilaria Mercae from the University of Naples. Federico Tu in Italy from the EMA Consortium will be speaking. And then we hope to have Anna Maria tomorrow from the University of Parma in Italy joining us, although she's on a train at the moment, so we're not sure whether the connection is going to be very successful. But the good news is that we do have for sure Gaetana Alemu from the Southampton Solent University, who works closely with Anna Maria and in fact is going to present a very interesting case on using the Europeana series of the Europeana materials in a MOOC. My name is Sally Reynolds and I'm going to be the moderator for our webinar this afternoon. If you've never joined us before, let me tell you that if you want to ask any questions, if you'd like to raise any issues, you can always use the chat at the bottom of the screen to use it. And it's very nice if you let us know who you are. We're a small group this afternoon, but let us know where you're joining us from, so we know where everybody is there. I see that we have several people already saying hello. Hi Maria, it's good to see you joining us again. So do let us know who you are and where you're joining up from. We will have time for questions after each of the presentations, and I'll keep an eye on the chat to make sure that anything that is raised will be put to our speakers this afternoon. Also want to let you know that we will make a recording of the webinar, so the actual webinar itself, including the slides, will be available afterwards. It usually takes us 4 or 5 days to do that. And you can also use our Twitter channel if you'd like to talk about the session this afternoon as well. Just to remind you about EMA. EMA is a European project, European Multiple MOOC Aggregator, which has been running now for over 2 years and has an increasing offer of MOOCs in various languages made by various different universities and colleges and organizations in different parts of Europe. It's a typical European project with 11 partners in different parts of Europe, and it's run by the Federica team in Naples. We have an offer on at the moment about encouraging you to get involved. If you would like to run a MOOC on EMA, you're most welcome. And if you'd like to use the Europeana Collections, which is what today is about, you're very welcome, and you'll find information. We'll give you this link. I think Alberto is putting these links already into the chat. Thanks, Alberto. And you can also, we're also open to, even if you're not thinking about using Europeana, we're also open to taking on board new MOOCs at the moment. So please let us know. The platform is open. It's freely available for the year. We'd very much like to involve you. So that's all I wanted to say just to get us started. We're going to switch ourselves all off camera and leave the screen now to Milena. We're going to put up Milena's slides so that she has them ready to go. And it's over to you, Milena.
Thank you very much, Sally. Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining this webinar. My name is Milena Popova and I'm a head of reuse services at Europeana. The team aims to encourage the reuse of digital cultural material by the creative industries and also on the key markets of education, research and tourism. In this context, we started a collaboration of EMA and this webinar in particular. So today I'll shortly tell you what Europeana is, and we'll give you some tips how you can find resources for your MOOC from the Europeana Collections. So Europeana is a team of 60 members located in The Hague, the Netherlands, and London, with The Hague being the headquarter. Europeana is also a community of over 3,000 members who contribute knowledge, technology, and business expertise to the whole sector. Europeana is also a digital service infrastructure, and as you could see from this diagram, we have 3 layers. The core services, which is basically content and technology we'll provide, the interfaces we use, and the 3 main groups we provide services for: end users, reusers, and data partners. So education falls more under the reuser services. So let me tell you about more the content. Right now, Europeana provides access to more than 53 million digital records. This is a huge database of great thematic, language, and media variety. As you could see, you can find more than 28 million images, over 23 million text files, also 3D objects, sounds, and videos. In terms of topics and media files, you can see books, newspapers, paintings, maps, curated exhibitions, really a lot to explore across subjects. Just to give you a few examples, you can find, for instance, amazing photographs of ancient Thracian civilizations. You can find amazing medieval maps, or untold stories from the First World War, or fashion material if you want to please your arms. So where can you find all this information? Well, the first place to go is, of course, the main Europeana website, Europeana.eu. But you can also want to explore the thematic collections of Europeana. If you're a music fan, you can go directly to music.europeana.eu or to art.europeana.eu, where you find very fine examples of European artworks. About the topic of First World War, you can access directly Europeana 1914-1918 EU, where again you can browse items, digitized items, personal stories, but also documents stored in libraries and museums on the topic of First World War. It's interesting to say that there you can find also materials from other continents, for instance Australia and New Zealand. I also would advise you to go to our special Europeana Labs website. Europeana Labs is our main interface for the creative industries, and there we feature special datasets which are openly licensed and contain highly resolution images. So you can go to the Europeana Labs and select the data, and you can find the featured collections. Finally, you can access Europeana 280 collection, which is a special collection consisting of 10 masterpieces from 28 European countries. So therefore, the number 280. And this is how it looks like. Really selected fine artworks, and on your left you can select which country do you want to see. So how do you can you search and find resources for your MOOC? How you can find the relevant materials across topics? I'd like to start with a very concrete example about the Art Nouveau. So I will invite you all to go to the Europeana.eu website and to start doing the exercise with me. Okay, so you have two ways to start your search. Either you add a search term in the main search box, Art Nouveau, or you can go directly to, as you can see, under the Browse section on the Europeana website and select some filters. You can start your search with colors, if that's really important to you, or with sources, topics, and people. So how will this look like? If you select topics, let's say the Art Nouveau topics, as you can see on your upper left, there is directly a very nice selection of Art Nouveau posters. But let's go back to the easiest way to start the search, when you just add the term Art Nouveau in the main search field. Once you click, you get to the result page, and you can select how you'd like to see the results. This can be either a grid or list view. Then you can also want to explore the various filters on your left side. And as you can see, this you can select between various media files, image, text, 3D, video, sounds. The special filter "Can I use it?" which gives you the rights statement. So whether you have the right permissions to use the images, and you can see yes with attribution, which means that the respective media files is available under the open licenses, being the public domain, the Creative Commons CC0, CC BY or CC BY SA. You can also access, but just to view and not to use in your collections, images which are available under some restrictive licenses, or images which are under copyright, so you can use them only with permissions. You can select content from a specific country. And here you can see between Poland, choose between Poland, Germany, Belgium and Hungary, and many more to come, because this is quite a popular topic. I'd like to suggest to select the filter images, because this is the most visual content. And as you see, you can immediately choose between a few more filters to make your visual search even easier and faster. So let's select from the palette a particular color. Let's say you'd like to search for images which are in the maroon color, and the maroon color is available on the third row from above. So please select this color. And then you can also decide whether you want the images in a portrait or landscape format, and what size as well, the file format. For the sake of our example, I will select the portrait orientation, as well the extra large images, so that you can use really the very high quality images in your courses. So you can see that we narrowed the results, and now we should select the images which we can freely reuse in any educational format. So you should pick the filter yes with attribution, which will give you back only the openly reusable licenses. What is important to say is that you should, for convenience, pick the items which have only links with direct media. As in this way, you can access directly the media file and not go to the provider site and download the image. It's really for your use of convenience. So once you have these selections results, let's go to the last row of the results pages and select the beautiful image of Victoria Bats from Manchester. You just click on the image or on the record, and you'll be transferred to the item page. On the item record page, you can of course see the image, but a lot of metadata available, like title, description, the creator, the time it has been created. What's important is to look on your right, where again you can find the filter "Can I use it?" So here you can see under what license you can reuse the image. When you click on the button Download, you have a bit more information about the file, as well the attribution of the author. This is where you should pay attention for. So once you click the link on the right, Download, you can directly download the file, but please use always the attribution, which you can decide either to get as a plain text or as HTML snippet. What is also very important is to be able to select more images which are similar to this one. So when you scroll down in your example, you can see a selection of similar images, and you can pick the ones you want. Again, considering the licenses which are available, under which the respective item is available. Okay, this was the example with Europeana with the Europeana Collections, but I'd like to show you also the an example with Europeana Labs. So for this example, please go to labs.europeana.eu and select the Data tab, which is in the upper menu. You'll see a lot of featured collections, and you can filter the collections depending on your interest, the topic you're interested in. So you can select between history, geodata, architecture, design, and archaeology. Let's select the history filter, and then you can again have at your disposal a lot of data sets, which are all, again, high resolution and openly licensed. So you don't need to worry about the copyright for these data sets. Let's pick the example, high resolution public domain images from Staten Museums for Kunst. So in this example, you can see the description of the respective collection. So what images you can find there, what's the topic, information about some bit more technical information about the high resolution, as well about the institution providing the images. What's very important are the links at the end of the dataset card. You can see the two buttons, API Console and the portal. These links, the API Console links to a technical environment where you can explore the special API query to the datasets. If you're not a technical person, then please don't pay attention to this button. Go directly to the next one, the portal, which will link you directly to these datasets on the Europeana Collections website. And there you can start immediately selecting your image. These are two ways to search for Europeana. What I'd like to stress once again is that you should only use items with link with media. This is for your convenience, so that you can directly access the files. And please always pick yes with attribution filter, so that you are sure that the images you're using in your educational course are openly licensed and can be reused in this material. So it's for own peace of mind. And if you'd like to see more search tips for Europeana, please go directly to the link you see on the screen, and you can explore for yourself what will best suit for your images. So thank you very much. I hope you found the presentation helpful.
Thanks, Milena. It's really fascinating, and I hope everybody else was also online at the same time and following through with you, because it's just such an absolutely wonderful resource. It would be interesting to know, in fact, how many people who are following today know about Europeana and knew about it beforehand, and let us know if you're using it. In terms of questions, there was a question earlier on from Herbert about the licensing, but I think that was before you got started in explaining to us the different types of licenses that apply. So Herbert, if you still have a question about that, maybe you could put it into the chat now. And Elena raised a question. She said, based on what features stroke metadata or similar items are given. I'm not 100% sure I understand that. Milena,
yeah,
do you?
I think it would be useful to clarify the question a bit.
Yeah, Elena, maybe you could elaborate what you actually mean by that. You also made a point earlier yourself, Milena, which I wasn't sure I've understood completely myself. You said it's better to use images with direct links. Do you mean that for the resources that are actually on your servers? Is that what you meant?
They're not on our server, but you can. There is the technical possibility to directly access the link. So you don't have, as before, maybe if we explored Europeana, you could go to the provider's website and there you can download the image. Whereas now, if you pick this filter, only data with direct media links, you can directly download the media file. So it's really for your own convenience.
Many people who will be watching this afternoon, Elena, will be interested in your video files because you have a very large video collection, of course. And I know you've been collaborating through EU Screen and other projects to gather television archive. And so a question many people will want to know is, can you download the video resources, or can you just only link to them on Europeana?
As long as they are under the open licenses, you can download and reuse them in the educational courses. I should say, unfortunately, a big part of the videos is in copyright or under restrictive licenses, but there's still part of them which are available for open reuse. So it depends. I mean, it's a matter of search and find.
I was going to ask you that, I mean, because of course we're all interested in open licenses and in materials that we can reuse and that we don't have to ask for individual permission to use. So of course it's the CC license that we're all very keen to follow up on. And I just wonder, is the trend now in that direction? Do you see that in Europeana? You're facing that all the time. Are there more and more materials becoming available with CC, or is it not happening?
Well, we are a strong advocate for open licenses, and we provide all the metadata. Well, actually, in agreement with our providers, we provide the metadata under the CC0. So the metadata can be used in any case. However, the use of the media files is a bit more difficult because you have the copyright in a particular country, and as a rule of thumb there has to be 70 years since the death of the author, which is not always the case, especially for modern time materials. But we encourage really our providers to submit materials under the open license as much as possible. We also have introduced the Europeana Publishing Framework, where we introduced 4 tiers of submission of data to Europeana, and for each tier we say, okay, if you submit data with this quality, you can expect these benefits. Just to give you an example, tier 3 and 4 are the tiers where we accept, well, accept is not the right word, but let's say we take on the portal and display data which is high resolution and available under either some open licensing allowing non-commercial and commercial reuse. Tier 3 is non-commercial reuse, so a bit more restrictive. Tier 4 is really high quality data with licenses which allow also commercial reuse. And in this case, the content providers can expect really a lot of application of their content. Of course, the content can be displayed on Europeana portal, in our virtual exhibition, social media, but also we push this content to the creative industries, and they can be reused in commercial and non-commercial applications.
Thank you. So you're encouraging them, basically. You're pushing them in that general direction. Yeah. Just Elena has come back to us, as you can see, and she says so what she meant was that what criteria are considered when you link similar items. So if you really wanted to get down to making a distinction between different items in your database, I mean, how deep do you go in terms of selection criteria?
I think we use a combination of criteria, again related to the type of file, also the time, the theme of the selection. But yeah, it really depends on the search.
Yeah, and you're going to, you'll probably get things that are similar appearing in the search, which is fine. I think for most people, they can check down to see what it is they want. I just had one final question to you, and I think it's more also for people who are setting up their own MOOCs and who are looking about using Europeana. Your collections, your special collections are always, of course, a very interesting aspect of what you do. Would you take suggestions from people external to Europeana to have a specific collection which might indeed be linked to a specific MOOC? Would you consider that?
Yes, of course. And just to give an example that we are very open about that, under the current project cycle, we work with 3 educational partners: European Schoolnet, Euroclio, and Inventing Europe. I'm not sure whether you're familiar with Inventing Europe, but they focus on the history of science in Europe, again for universities. And for instance, one of the topics which we discussed is how to get feedback from university teachers and researchers in that area on the type of content they would need on Europeana. The same applies also for Euroclio and European Schoolnet. So we are very open for suggestions.
That's a good opening then to all of our MOOC people who are connected this afternoon. Milena, thank you very much. You'll be with us anyway till the end, and we will. It was Europeana, it was European Schoolnet. It was Euroclio, which is the network of history teachers in Europe, and it was Inventing Europe. They were the three different people you work with, Laura. I see you're just asking that question.
Thank you.
Okay, Milena, stay connected. We'll get you to switch off your camera now, and we'll go to our next speaker. And our next speaker I'm delighted to introduce, but I think many people who are connected here this afternoon will know her well, and that is Ilaria. So Ilaria, over to you to talk to us about how, this is the other side, so we're talking about Europeana, now we're going to talk about Emma and how you could include Europeana into your MOOC. Ilaria.
Yes, hello everybody. So, hello also to all the friends connected today. You already know many things about Emma, but also Sally has already explained many features, and I would only like to underline that Emma is conceived as a learning environment that offers MOOC in a variety of disciplines, but also in a variety of languages, because one of the main goals is to provide multilingual access to MOOCs in Europe with Emma, and also, of course, a variety of instructional design. Multiple means also to be flexible enough to enable users and also providers to use the platform in the way they want. And just to introduce you Emma, if you don't know many features, I also would like to focus your attention on the interactive features, because we got an innovative toolbox for allowing personal learning in general from the user side above all, and in this way users are able to collect different contents also from different courses in their own course book. So these two features, the multilingualism and the interactive features about the toolbox, will be really interesting for all of you, so I will invite you to explore the platform in this way. But as far as our collaboration with the huge database of Europeana, we can present you also an easy way of tagging resources on Emma in order to have directly on your MOOC the Europeana sources and have all a set of chosen and authoritative, of course, sources directly related to your course. For example, let's test together. This is a part of the backend of Emma, and together we can try to insert the tag Galilei. Galilei is a word used also in the MOOC by Anna Maria Tammaro and Gaetane that you will see later during this webinar, and as testimonial also of our MOOC on Emma. And if you easily put the tag in your section on Emma, you will discover a set of connection to Europeana. Let me see this with you, this other preview. Here you see the preview of the related resources, for example, to Galilei. And if we, unfortunately, perhaps you can focus a bit on, we can try, because, no, too much, but you can see that the first source is the same also on Emma, and so on. You have an audio file, you have then a text, and you have another book, original books, because one of the feature of Europeana is that you can find a lot of original resources that you can reuse. So this is a real big treasure, and you can have related to your own tag, you can have a lot of results back from choosing by audio, text, images, video, 3D, all a set of formats, and you can relate to your own MOOC. Then this is the direct research on Europeana, and you can see that the same results are shown in the same order. So this is interesting because through the API coding, you can have back the same results already inserted in your MOOC on Emma. And just some quick tips, because this is just an overview on this feature, and you can discover more online, and you can also, I will let you know in a while, that you can also participate in a call for action now to run a MOOC using the Europeana features and sources. But once you are already in the platform, if you are already a provider, and many of you are also intending to provide a course on Emma, you can only think to use specific concepts, not too general, in order to avoid results that you are not interested in. So, for example, you can go to search not only about social, but a social bookmark, for example, and so on. If you have some personality that you would like to search, you can use simply an underscore between the name and the surname, for example. Then you can tag in different languages, but the more important is that you have to explore by your own also, or with also our help, the different way of tagging the same concept we are searching, in order to receive back the best one, the more appropriate in relationship with your aim of research. I would also like to remember you in general, because it is always important to pay attention to the different licenses for copyright, as Milena has already explained, and say simply to use more specific keywords in order to have back your favorite results. Then, just a quick note on the call for action. I will copy again in the chat the link already copied by Alberto, and in this way you will be able to propose a MOOC, also with the idea of using, of course, the Europeana Collection, this huge database that you have at your own availability to enrich your course, because I'm happy always to share the idea that with platform like Emma, you can really improve your learning experience. So you can improve also your experience as provider, but from the user sides, many feedback comes also to let us know that they are very, very interested in this. Hello, Sally. So, thank you everybody again, and if you are interested also in propose a MOOC, you can link easily on this URL and find all the information you need.
Thanks, Ilaria. It's really a super treasure trove indeed, Europeana, and I think it's increasingly easy to make that connection with Emma. So it's good to hear the detail from you. Does anybody have any questions for Ilaria on how to make that connection between Emma and Europeana? Are there anything that you are concerned about? Those of you who are starting to set up a MOOC or thinking about running a MOOC, do you see this as a possibility? Would you like to include it? Please put your comments or questions into the chat. We'd be delighted to hear you. Ilaria, I was just going to ask you just the languages. I think that's something that people would be really curious about how that works. So you said you can put tags in with different languages. Yeah.
Yes, because of course, the objects are the same, and we have to see the rules of searching directly on Europeana. But if you search in your own language, and then also, for example, in English or in another language, you can reach also different sources. So it is always a good idea to check in all the tags in many languages, and then choose.
Yeah, taking the most obvious ones, obviously, in each language.
Yeah. Sometimes English also, not only on Europeana, but in database in general, have many results, many documents are tagged and with metadata in English, for example, and so it is more convenient to search also in at least in English, if your own language is not the English, of course.
Okay, Ilaria, thank you very much. You're going to stay with us until the end as well.
Thank you to you all.
And we will hold back for any questions for you towards the end. But of course, we've been talking about doing this and what a good idea it would be to do it. But in fact, one of our MOOC providers has already been doing it, and that's why we were very keen to make sure that this afternoon we also have a real example of people who are using Europeana and in their MOOC on Emma, and how they've done it and what the experience has been. So this is about the MOOC Digital Library in Principle and Practice, and it's been set up and run by Anna Maria Tamaro from Parma University. And Anna Maria is connected, but we are a bit worried about her connection because she's on a train. So in fact, her colleague Gaetana Alemu from Southampton Solent University, who's been working on this MOOC as well, who's in London today, is going to give a presentation on behalf of both. But Anna Maria, I see that you are connected at least, so feel free to put any comments or additions if you feel that there's something you'd like to add to Gaetana's presentation this afternoon. So in the meantime, over to you, Gaetana, to tell us about what was it like to actually incorporate Europeana into your MOOC. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Sally, thanks for this opportunity. Basically, what I'm going to do is to link digital libraries as a platform, that's Europeana, and also the MOOC as a virtual learning environment, a more open access to learning resources. So I'll try to share our experience from the University of Parma. And
Gaetana, sorry for interrupting you for 1 second, but I see that the microphone has moved up quite a lot. Could you bring it down closer to your mouth, because we're getting a bit of interference with sound. That's probably.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Thank you very much.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, that's much better. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So I'll try to bring the two together as an experience participating in the Digital Library in Principle and Practice EMA MOOC course, where I participated as part of a co-trainer and author of the course with Professor Anna Maria Tamaro, and also other colleagues like Elena Gusti, who is actually here today. So what we have observed is the MOOC EMA is a kind of implementation of a broader paradigm shift in learning, where students own their learning. They are not just passive participants, but they are active collaborators in this environment. So it's a two-way learning and teaching process. It's a more social constructivist approach, and it's brought about shifts in the pedagogy and learner interaction. EMA is a more multilingual platform, which has its own opportunities and also challenges, but we focus more on the opportunities it presents, because it's, as I said, it's a more paradigm shift in the whole aspect of learning. So the Digital Library in Principle and Practice course was basically structured into 4 weeks, into 4 components, where many people, including the lead Anna Maria Tamaro and others, have been participating. So we have had this pedagogical approach for students to explore, read the content, share the content, remix the content. So basically, the digital library as a platform is an important one, but also the learning environment, the MOOC as a platform for students to not only just read material, but also to share that material, mix that material, create their own content by way of interaction with their peers as well. And in all this, we see the role of metadata is very relevant. Not only because we offered the course on digital libraries, but for all other EMMA MOOC courses. So metadata is essential. Metadata basically is the keywords, the terminologies, if you want, that you use to describe information resources such as articles, image, videos, the ones that Milena has been talking about from the Europeana context. So what we did was, as part of the metadata course, we intentionally asked the students to search Europeana. So we said we give them assignments that can help them to actually access material which is in an existing digital library environment such as Europeana, instead of asking them, for example, to go buy a textbook. That's a kind of traditional way of teaching, or go find this item in your library. But what we intentionally wanted them was to use actually an existing material in digital libraries, so that because these are digital libraries, trainers and also teachers of different levels, librarians of different levels, really a diverse group of students from different countries, mainly multilingual, but mainly in Italian. So we asked them to create metadata to search for an article, an object on Europeana. So we said open the Europeana platform and search for a painting called The School of Athens by Raphael. And using the Deblink or metadata standard, which we give them already training on the description about it, so we asked them to describe the resource. But also not only just to describe the image, as you can see it here on this slide, but we asked them, who do you think are the people in this image? So we asked them that kind of, not just read the image, understand the image, but go beyond what is here, so that they could search, explore, remix, and add some value to these objects as well. And also we asked them to identify what metadata is missing from these objects, or if the metadata is if they can easily understand this object. So if you can see some of you see the slides here, they find most of the students actually came back with answers, correct answers. They say, we found this item from Europeana. So that's what we wanted them to do, to find out information objects, and also to find out what metadata what metadata that has described this object. So the students said yes, they could be able to find this object on Europeana, but also they could download it, they could find related items and identify what are actually the people on this image. Like they say in the image, one of the central people here are Plato and Aristotle. Plato holding his hand, saying, reality is up in heavens. Aristotle is saying, it's from experience. And also a lot of the other philosophers and mathematicians depicted in this picture. So we really we are impressed by the students' interactivity and their feedback and their level of engagement in the EMMA MOOC course. But also they added material, actually, they added content into their description. They added their own reflections. So that's the idea of that social constructivist approach. More students are engaged, proactively engaged in their learning. So we in addition to that, when they we create resources, we tagged our resources, and it could come, the resources, some of the articles that are related to the tags could also come with when the students search for material in the EMA course. So you can see there is a stronger link between the digital library, Europeana, that's the Digital Cultural Heritage Library, and the EMA, that is an implementation of a more, as I said, engaging, proactive, student-led teaching platform. So it also leads to ask questions like, how can you enrich this more so that students can easily access material on Europeana? So you can create a strong link between, a seamless, strong integrated link between Europeana and EMA. Because already the people have, there is a lot of investment put in Europeana, and there is a lot of investment put in EMA. So you just link these two and create a kind of dynamic environments for learning. So you don't need to duplicate the resources which are already in Europeana. As Milena was trying to demonstrate the resources in Europeana, which is about 53 million items, which is a treasure trove, as Sally was mentioning, for digital collections. So there is we need to focus on just intentionally focus on linking the students back to the content where the content is. So that's why the idea of the platform is very important. As to emphasize, Europeana is really a great source for collection of diverse multilingual cultural content with links to actual resources where students can download from the different libraries. So there's also an automatic cross-linking between Europeana and the EMA platform. There is a lot of content where students can actually enrich by adding tags. So as EMA coordinators, you need to push your students towards tagging, adding more metadata, enriching their metadata with more keywords, with more user-friendly terminologies, so that can link back to where the resources are. But also from the Europeana side, you can link back to, you can have more enriched metadata so that students can easily access these resources. So both students and teachers can seamlessly interact between the two platforms. And for us, that's really a great way of a great experience to see and experience learning happens in practice, because it's supported by an existing platform like Europeana and an emerging platform, the MOOC. So thank you very much. If you have questions, you can pose to me, and also Anna Maria is in here. I really thank you all for the opportunity.
Thanks, Gaetana. It's very interesting to hear how you've married the two, indeed, between EMA and Europeana. So if you have specific questions for Gaetana, perhaps you could put them in to the chat, and then we will ask everybody to join us again so we can have a broader discussion. Gaetana, how widespread is Dublin Core now? Is it a widespread standardization or standards body?
It is. Of course, Europeana has its own, if I understand correctly, its own metadata framework, which is also based on Dublin Core, the simple Dublin Core 15 metadata. It's like title, author, keyword, subject, and description. But also Europeana is expanded with more metadata. But each contributing institution also describes its resources. So metadata is, yes, surely, Dublin Core is surely now widespread, but it's a more general descriptive metadata framework.
Because there have been very many initiatives, of course, over the years about standardization,
yeah, exactly,
and metadata. And I don't know about our audience, but I'm one of those people who just thinks, oh Lord, here comes another one. So it's good to know that Dublin Core is what we should be focusing on. And I think you will see the comment there from Anna Maria about the use of Europeana. She's referring to the fact that of the people who are taking part in their MOOC, I think the number is over 600. In fact, I was just looking at this afternoon, Anna Maria. Most are teachers, and this is the first time time that they were using Europeana. So I think it's also a great way to try and promote the great treasure trove that Europeana is into the educational community. So thank you so much for making that connection as you did, Gaetana, in your presentation. So maybe we could ask Milena to switch back on her camera and microphone, and also Ilaria. We have 10 minutes left. So if people would like to put questions, if there's things that have come up during the discussion also from you, Milena, or from Ilaria. But first of all, there is a specific question for you, Milena, from Herbert, which you see there. Does Europeana already have a database of best practices on the reuse of Europeana content in the educational domain?
Not yet, but we're in the process of creating it. Well, just to give you a bit of context of our efforts in this area, we started the European Education Task Force last year, and one of the outcomes was a database of best practices from the cultural sector. I mean, how cultural data has been used in educational contexts and formats. We will promote these best practices and case study under a special series of blog posts and on Twitter under the hashtag Europeana for Education. So if you search for Europeana for Education hashtag on Twitter, you can find a lot of information about it. And also you can go on our blog posts on Europeana Pro, which is our professional portal. I'll just put it in the chat.
Great, I was going to ask you to do that, thank you. And Europeana for Education we search for.
Yeah, I'll put the hashtag as well.
Great.
So this is the hashtag you can search on Twitter. And I'd like to give you an example of our latest blog post on education. If you give a minute.
No problem. Meanwhile, please feel free to post any comments or anything to Milena or to Ilaria or to Gaetana.
Okay, this is an example about our featured collections on the Historiana, which is the learning portal of Euroclio, the European Association of History Educators. And these collections are created especially for educators, thanks to the team of Euroclio. I'll also post another blog post which is under the same topic, which is written by our partner Inventing Europe. So again, how you can use Europeana for educational purposes.
Just thinking of all the European citizenship projects that are going on across Europe, they would find this really useful, of course.
Yes, and we'll keep collecting such case studies. We posted also a template on the Europeana blog how you can submit such cases to us, and then we'll help promote them on our channels and our partners' channels.
Yeah. Thanks, Milena. I hope, Herbert, that answered your question. So yes, there is a lot going on there, and there are lots of resources. Maria, it would be great to have access to a discussion forum where teachers could discuss and practice use of all the Europeana treasure. Yes, and if you'd like to start it, we'd happily support you as well, because it's something we'd be happy to do, of course, with the EMA social media channels, to either have a separate group there or to start to include that discussion, because it just seems to me, according as people are looking at using MOOCs more and more, that this kind of resource is something that would be just very valuable to them. I think on the one hand, the Digital Libraries MOOC, of course, it's an obvious link to make, but I can think of very many other MOOCs, even the science areas. You're saying, Milena, you're making that kind of connection as well too. And so it's not just limited to libraries and to people who are interested in libraries, it's people who are generally involved in MOOCs and who want to have access to a good database resource. So, Ilaria, do you think, I mean, based on what you see and what you hear of the use of Europeana, do you think that more of our MOOC providers are taking an interest now in this area?
I hope yes, because as I was told before, I think that we have to allow to improve the learning experience, but also the preparation of content. And in this way, the students can go in depth and also be guided in choosing the right sources related to a certain field of study. So it is very, very important. And I would like also to remember that, of course, there is the special way of tagging that we have seen together, but on EMMA, of course, it is also possible to add resources from everywhere on the web, and of course also directly manually from Europeana again. So if you would like to pay attention to the policy, to the filter for many other metadata or whatever you want, you can also adding manually, of course.
Thank you. Herbert, yes, I think we're all interested in this kind of a collaboration, and it's thanks to people like Anna Maria and Gaetana and Ilaria, and I know also Federica, who's connected this afternoon from WOC, and Maria from WOC, that this kind of collaboration is starting. So hopefully we'll be able to promote this and it further. Just we're coming to an end, but it just struck me because the topic of language came up, and I was just wondering, Milena, is how multilingual is Europeana, the whole collection? Do you know roughly? Is it very dominated by English, or do you have a rough idea of the breakdown?
Okay, so you don't mean the interface, but the records themselves.
Exactly. The interface is multilingual, that's clear.
Yes, it's available in 31 languages. To be honest, I don't have enough, exact percentages, but we have content from each European countries. Predominantly Western Europe, I should say, but there is content from other European countries too.
Yeah, and I certainly saw even when we were doing that search earlier under your directions, there was material coming up from different countries, so that's a very good sign. But I think it's probably also a case of making Europeana as well known as we all can, because otherwise we're going to lose it if citizens don't appreciate it more extensively. So I think for all the people, I mean, you said, Anna Maria, that so many people taking part in your MOOC had not heard, the teachers hadn't heard of Europeana, so we must make it a mission also to make people aware of Europeana. And the same thing with Emma, of course. Europeana is a little older than Emma. I think you've been around for quite a few years now, Milena, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a continuity there, which is very good to see. Look, thank you very much. We're just coming up to the very end. I just wanted to remind everybody of a couple of things before we finish. This request, this open invitation to people to run their MOOC on Emma using the Europeana Collections is open at the moment, and we're very keen to make sure we have as many inputs and as many suggestions as we can. We need to have your request by the end of July, but don't let that stop you. If you have an idea today and you'd like to push it ahead today, then let us know, because the sooner we know, the better. Next webinar in this series is not until July. We have had a fairly busy season, spring season of webinars, all of which are available on the Emma website, and we will have then a roundup one towards the end of the European funded part of Emma in July, where we will have both Carmen Padron Napoles from Atos and Rosanna De Rosa, of course, who's the coordinator of Emma, who will be speaking about the experience of Emma. So we'll remind you about that, but put it into your diary and save the date. So don't forget to connect with us. We have all of our various different channels which are listed there. We're always keen to hear from you, keen to get your comments and your feedback. As I mentioned at the beginning, this webinar will be it is being recorded, and it will be made available on the Emma website, and we'll also send a link to everybody who is registered for today so that you know where it is. It'll take us a couple of days, so wait until next Monday or Tuesday, and then hopefully you'll get an email. So very much thanks to our speakers this afternoon. Milena Popova, thank you so much for your time and for sharing Europeana with us. Ilaria, as always, thanks for your time and effort this afternoon in telling us how to link up to Emma. And Gaetana, thank you, Gaetana Alemu, for joining us. I know you're very busy and you're in London at something else, at a conference, so it's nice that you joined us. And I'd also like to thank Anna Maria, who is with us in spirit. I think she's no longer connected at the moment. The train may have gone into a tunnel, but she has been very much with us as well too. So thanks very much for your help, and also to my colleague Alberto, who has been running the technical support this afternoon. Bye bye to everybody, and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye now.
Bye. Thank you to all. Bye.
Bye.